Prince Afam was no ordinary prince. From childhood, he was known across many villages as the boy with the face of an angel and the heart of a lion. He had everything a young man could ever wish for: beauty, riches, wisdom, and power. Women adored him. Men respected him. But Prince Afam had one strange belief. He believed that the woman who would become queen must satisfy him in bed, not just emotionally, but physically, in ways that even his 58 wives had failed to do. From the start, he made it very clear. "Whoever satisfies me in my bed," he announced loudly on the day of the village festival, standing tall in front of the palace, his voice calm but full of command, "will be the future queen of this kingdom. But if you fail, you go just end up as my concubine. Nothing more." As he stood on the palace steps with his golden crown shining under the sun and his smooth dark skin glowing like polished wood, the maidens of the land screamed with joy. They clapped, they danced, they ululated. "No small thing be that," one girl shouted. "No me go satisfy and pass," another yelled. To them, it sounded easy. What could possibly be hard about being with a handsome prince? Most of them dreamed of it every night. But reality would slap them harder than thunder. Each girl that entered Prince Afam's room came out minutes later, breathless, panicking, and shaking like leaf. Their hair scattered. Some had torn wrappers. Some came out barefoot, clutching their bras and pants in their hands like they were running from a demon. Even Adoku, the so-called village champion, the girl who was feared by even married women because of how she slept with their husbands, entered the room with full confidence. "Make una shift. No me dey go show this prince pepper," she bragged, tying her wrapper tighter as she walked seductively into the prince's chamber. But within 5 minutes, Adoku came flying out of the door, holding her blouse in one hand, her left breast almost falling out. "I no fit die oh. I no wan die before my time," she screamed, running past the other girls still waiting to try their luck. The palace was always busy with laughter, whispering, and the sound of sandals dragging on the floor as more and more girls came, hoping to succeed where 58 others had failed. But the result was always the same. Some said the prince had spiritual problems. Some said he was cursed by a jealous witch. Others believed he was testing women to avoid marrying a devil in disguise. But nobody knew the real truth. Nobody, except Prince Afam. One bright morning, the palace was quiet. The guards were chatting by the gate when they saw a young girl approaching. She couldn't have been more than 15 or 16 years old. Her name was Ebra. She was from a nearby town and had come to join the trial. She wore a simple gown that barely touched her knees and walked with the confidence of someone who had nothing to lose. "I came to seek the prince," she said boldly, standing before the guards. One of the guards looked at her from head to toe. "Bia, this small girl, you get that wish?" he asked with a frown. "You see any of your mates here?" another one barked. "Who send you come? Where your mama dey? She no say you dey here," a third added. "Oya comot from here make we no beat you." Small children of nowadays no get single respect again. "If not that you dey find, go somewhere else die, no come die for here for the prince's hand," said the older guard, waving his staff. But Ebra refused to move. "I want to see the prince," she said, raising her voice. "No be play we dey play here oh," one of them said, almost dragging her away. "Once you enter inside, no turning back. No your dead body we go carry comot. Even your mama no fit stand our prince. Talk more of you wey be small thing." Just as the guards were still arguing and shouting, a soft royal voice interrupted them. "What is happening here?" Prince Afam asked as he stepped out of his chamber. He wore a white royal wrapper with golden embroidery. His short white staff that resembled a polished cow horn rested in his right hand. His eyes scanned the scene. Who is this little girl and what in the name of Christ is she doing here? Is her mother or sister one of my concubines? No, Your Highness, one of the guards answered nervously. She says she come for the trial too. We been dey try send her away, but she stubborn like goat. Prince Afam laughed a deep, loud laugh. She thinks say this one not end-of-term drama for secondary school. Please, I don't want to see her in this palace in the next 2 minutes, he said and turned to go back in. But Ebra stepped forward. No ever underestimate the strength of a woman, she said firmly. The guards gasped. One of them held his chest like he just saw a ghost. I can do what others cannot do, Ebra continued. Just give me chance. If I fail, take my life. I no go cry. Prince Afam paused. His back still facing her. Little girl, he said slowly, turning to face her, you know what you just said now. You want to die? I am a prince, he added, a leader, not a killer. Then allow me to show you that sincerity still there for this world, Ebra replied. Prince Afam studied her face. This girl was young, but her eyes carried the weight of someone who had seen pain. She didn't blink. She didn't shake. You be small girl of 15 to 16, he said finally. But why your voice be like say you don't date this world for 30 years? He nodded slowly. Okay, good. I go fulfill your wish. Since you don't already get that wish, I go help you make 'em faster. Follow me. Gasps filled the palace grounds. The guards stared at each other. Some crossed themselves. One of them quietly whispered, "Now her spirit will go carry come out from that room." Prince Afam led Ebra into the chamber. The heavy palace door closed behind them. Minutes passed. Nothing. 30 minutes passed. Still silence. 1 hour passed. Still nothing. 3 hours passed. The guards were now pacing up and down. Some went to knock softly on the door. No sound. She don't die inside, one of them whispered. We go explain give her parents how. But just when panic was about to rise, the door creaked open. And what they saw left their mouths hanging open. Just as the guards were trying to guess what could be happening inside the prince's chamber with the little girl, they got the shock of their lives. They all looked up in surprise when instead of the girl coming out shouting or panicking like others, it was Prince Afam himself that ran out. He wasn't wearing a shirt. His chest glistened with sweat. He held his royal robe and crown in his hand. He was panting like someone who just finished running from a wild animal. I'm tired, he shouted on top of his voice as he staggered and leaned against one of the palace pillars. The guards looked at each other, confused. Prince Afam, running out of his own chamber, saying he was tired. They had never seen such a thing before. But Prince Afam was not always like this. Years ago, he was a completely different person. Back in secondary school, Prince Afam was known as the most humble and innocent boy in his class. Even though he came from a royal family, he never carried himself like a prince. He didn't brag. He didn't make trouble. He always sat alone during classes, ate alone during break, and would often stay back in the school library to study. His classmates used to laugh at him, saying he was too soft and gentle like a woman. Some would say, not only book this guy sobby. He no fit look woman face. They laughed and pointed at him, calling him names, but Prince Afam never answered them. He just focused on his books. He never showed off. He never acted proud. His fine face and quiet nature made many girls fall for him. Some girls even used their pocket money to buy snacks for him during break just to win his heart. But Prince Afam didn't care. He had no time for girls. His mother, the queen, died when he was still a small boy. He was raised by his stepmother, the second queen. Life was not easy. Even though he was a prince, he suffered. His stepmother treated him like an outsider. She mocked him. Sometimes she didn't allow him to eat with the others. She talked to him like he was a slave. His father, the king, loved him dearly. But the constant pressure and trouble from the palace, especially from his second wife, made the king fall sick and die when Prince Afam was just 8 years old. Since then, Prince Afam feared women. Not ordinary fear. Anytime he looked at a woman, it was like he was seeing his wicked stepmother. That pain, that trauma, it never left him. Because of that fear, Prince Afam never wanted anything to do with women. He avoided them like poison. The only people he laughed and talked with were the few boys in his class who treated him nicely and never made fun of him. When he graduated from secondary school and got admission into the university, life started to change. University was nothing like secondary school. In the university, people came from different cities and tribes. You would see all kinds of people, young boys, grown men, and girls of different shapes, sizes, and colors. It was a new world entirely. Prince Afam was still that quiet, respectful boy when he entered university. For the first few months, he kept to himself. He was focused. But little by little, things started to change. He made new friends. Friends that didn't think like him. Friends that came from rich homes too but didn't have his kind of discipline. One day, as they sat under a tree inside the school compound, his friend James said, "Guy, you still dey form virgin for here. See your fine face now. Your family get money. Why you dey dull yourself?" Another guy added, "Bro, if not me get your money and face, I for dey shut down this campus every weekend. You go see girls dey queue for my hostel. University no be secondary school, my guy." "Wake up," another boy called Kofi said, pressing his phone. Prince Afam sat quietly in one corner, holding his textbooks, listening. He didn't argue. He didn't talk back. But those words started entering his heart. Little by little, Prince Afam started joining them. They would come to his apartment every evening, wearing flashy clothes and holding their latest iPhones. Prince Afam had the money, but they had the street sense. They began to change him. They talked about girls all the time, how to toast them, how to lie to them, how to enjoy and dump them. At first, Prince Afam didn't understand what they enjoyed in all these things. But as time went on, he began to listen more. He began to copy them. Soon, he started going out with them. Parties, clubs, hotel rooms, and night hangouts. They would dance, drink, smoke, and return by dawn. Sometimes Prince Afam would sleep all day and miss classes. Sometimes he would stay out for 2 or 3 days without even opening his books. For the first time in his life, he felt freedom. But it was not the kind of freedom that brings peace. It was the kind that traps you. He felt like he was in another world, a world he never knew existed. And he was already swimming deep in it. The once innocent, humble Prince Afam was no longer the same. Something had changed in him. Something had opened a dark door inside his heart. And that was the beginning of everything that later happened. It was one beautiful Monday morning. The sun was out but not too hot, and the air was fresh. Birds were singing in the trees around campus, and the place looked like something out of a postcard. Prince Afam, who hadn't attended any lecture for weeks, was finally heading to class. He wore designer clothes, had his earbuds in his ears, and held his big iPhone as he walked down the lecture hall building, listening to music. His mind was far away, his thoughts flying up and down, when suddenly, he bumped into someone. A girl. She turned around slowly. Prince Afam froze. The girl standing in front of him was the most beautiful girl he had ever seen in his life. Her name was Natasha. She was just 18 years old. Her father was from the eastern part of Nigeria, while her mother came from the north. Her mixed background gave her a unique beauty that made people turn their heads wherever she went. Her skin glowed, her eyes were bright, and her walk was graceful. It was like watching a goddess in human form. Afam stood still, his mouth slightly open as he watched Natasha continue walking into the lecture hall. "Whoa, this girl is so beautiful, to God," he whispered to himself. He stood there for a while, smiling like someone who had just seen an angel. Then, slowly, he turned and walked away, still deep in thought. "I love this girl. I have never seen anyone as beautiful as her in this entire campus," he said to himself later that evening as he lay on his bed in his clean, small apartment. But there was a problem. He didn't know how to approach her. He didn't even know her name. He didn't know her department or her level. He had never spoken to a girl before in his life. Not even once. Yes, he had always hated women, or at least feared them because of the trauma he had with his stepmother, but this girl, was different. She made him feel things he had never felt before. That night, Prince Afam couldn't sleep. He tossed and turned, thinking of the girl with the beautiful face and graceful walk. "I think I have to tell my friends to help me out," he finally said to himself. But how was he going to describe a girl he didn't know? He didn't even know her name or department. How could he ask them to help him find her? He came to a decision. I must look for her first. From the very next day, Prince Afam began to attend lectures. But not because of studies. No. He was searching. Searching for the girl he bumped into. He walked around the campus, entered different lecture halls, even sat in on classes that were not his. But all to no avail. He didn't see her. Each day, he returned to his apartment more restless than before. It felt like something inside him was missing. Weeks passed. Still nothing. Then one afternoon, something happened. Prince Afam was at a small restaurant on campus with a few of his friends. They were eating rice and drinking cold minerals, talking and laughing loudly. Afam was telling them about a girl he saw weeks ago that had captured his heart. "Bro, the girl fine die. I never see that kind beauty before," he said. "You sure say no human being? No be mermaid?" James asked, laughing. Suddenly, they heard the door of the restaurant open. A girl walked in. Prince Afam's mouth opened wide in shock. The spoon he was holding dropped from his hand without him even realizing. "Oh my God," he whispered. "That's her. That's the girl." His friends turned and looked. "Omo. This one no real spec oh," Kofi said, whistling. Natasha had just walked into the restaurant. And she looked even more beautiful than the last time Afam saw her. His friends pushed him. "Guy, go now. Go talk to her. This one no sign from God." Afam's heart was beating like a drum. But he stood up. He walked slowly to where she was standing. "Hello pretty lady, how are you doing?" he said, stretching out his hand. Natasha looked at him, confused at first. Then she smiled lightly and shook his hand. "I am fine. My name is Afam. I'm a student in this campus. I'm in my final year. Please, can I know your name?" "My name is Natasha. I'm also a student here. 100 level. Medical department." Afam smiled. "Wow. Nice to meet you. You look so beautiful. Please, I would like us to talk again sometime. Can I have your number?" Natasha looked at him for a second. Then she nodded. "Sure." They exchanged numbers. Then Natasha went to pay for what she bought. No, please, Afam said quickly. Let me take care of it. Wow, thank you so much, Natasha said with a warm smile. See you some other time. You're welcome, Afam replied, grinning from ear to ear. See you soon. As she walked away, Afam walked back to his seat like a king who just conquered a new land. Omo. You done hammer? James shouted. You have changed, bro, Kofi added. You're no longer that small boy that fears women. You are now a man. Don't worry, another friend said. We go show you the way? When it's time to ask her out, leave that one for me. I got your back. Afam smiled quietly. Something inside him had shifted. The innocent boy who used to hide from girls was now beginning to walk into a new world. But what Afam did not know was that this new world he was stepping into would take him to a place darker than he ever imagined. A place where beauty can become a trap. A place where love is not what it seems. And Natasha. She was not just an ordinary girl. She came with a secret. A secret that would soon turn Afam's entire life upside down. Days passed, and Prince Afam and Natasha began to get along. They spent all night talking on the phone, laughing and chatting about everything and nothing. Sometimes they would talk till 2 a.m., and Prince Afam would still find himself smiling at the ceiling like a child who just discovered ice cream. The relationship was new and hot. Like fresh firewood set on dry grass, everything was burning with passion and joy. This was Prince Afam's first relationship, and he was enjoying the love and compliments he was getting from Natasha. Likewise, Natasha too was enjoying it. Even though she was just in her 100 level, she felt like she had found someone that truly saw her as special. Weeks passed, and their relationship grew stronger. Natasha started visiting Prince Afam in his apartment more often. They would watch TV together, sit close on the couch with popcorn and laughing at Nollywood comedies. They cooked together, sometimes jollof rice, sometimes indomie and egg, and after cooking, they would eat from the same plate like a couple that had been together for years. The love was strong and real. When Natasha was around, Prince Afam always felt peaceful. Even the way she laughed or arranged his books made him feel like he had a real woman by his side. Sometimes after Natasha was done cooking with Prince Afam, he would invite most of his friends to his house. They would eat and drink together with happiness filling the room. The boys would crack jokes, the girls would laugh loudly, and Natasha would sometimes blush at how proud Afam looked when he introduced her to his friends. Every weekend, Prince Afam would throw a big house party. His friends would gather with their girlfriends as they drank, smoked, and danced until everyone was exhausted. The room would be filled with music, red cups, loud laughter, and the smell of fried meat and alcohol. It was a life full of noise and excitement. Life was sweet, and Natasha was really enjoying it. But even in the middle of all the fun, Natasha never forgot why she came to school. She never missed class or lectures. She was always serious with her academics, no matter how sweet life with Afam seemed. Every night before she slept, she must pick up one of her books and look through it. It didn't matter whether it was chemistry, biology, or psychology, Natasha made sure she studied every night before closing her eyes. Life was sweet with Prince Afam and his friends, but it never stopped her from studying each night. Months passed, and the relationship grew even stronger. Prince Afam and Natasha walked hand in hand as they strolled around the school premises, chatting and laughing, talking about their past and sharing their childhood memories. One afternoon, as Prince Afam and Natasha sat under a big tree inside the campus, just beside the library garden, discussing and sipping cold malt, Prince Afam asked in a calm voice, "Babe, you've never told me about your hometown or village, or don't you travel home?" "That's because you never asked," Natasha replied warmly as she held his hand, smiling. "Well, I'm from 2 states, she continued. My father is from Imo State and my mother is from Katsina. But we all live in the north. I grew up in the north. I've only been to my father's village once with my dad to see my grandma. That was after I finished secondary school. Whoa, that's good to hear, Afam said, nodding. I'm also from Imo State. And I'm a prince in my village. Natasha opened her mouth in shock. What? You never told me that. She stared at him in disbelief.